of Turkey. And then you got the Prime Minister of Turkey revealed that Moors or Muslim seafarers been to the Americas way before Columbus. So no coincidence there.
We got
Also,
Turk's Head Place here.
the Turk's Head Place, downtown, got a Turk's Head with a turban on and a crescent moon right downtown. Not no Indian head, a Moor's head. Then when you get my third book, I'll just drop this heat right now.
There's a number 3 written under threat.
My third book, when you get my third book, you'll see that, so you know, the Civil War, the North divided against the South, right, fighting each other. The coat of arms for the North was a Phrygian cat. And the North was fighting to free who? The Moors. Again, no coincidence.
There's they got a Moor with a blue Phrygian cap on
Mm-hmm.
in the display.
At this Moore library, anybody's library is whatever, blah, 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 Moore. What else I got in here? Just more heat, more flames, congressional records, UN records, chess, boom, 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 boom. But yeah, support. If you don't know, now you know. So, before we start, things we read at every meeting. You want to read it?
You guys missed it.
You want to read it?
Sure.
Come on down. Ernie Box Jr.
Come on
Yeah.
down. The price is right.
Doesn't matter.
To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is the instruction from your prophet, Noble Jurali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds, that you will sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Jurali. And that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and natural principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Jurali.
Can I stop you right there for a 2nd?
Mhm.
We talk about how he says, watch your enemies, and he talks about those who ridicule him. I was just thinking, they are our enemies because everything that he brought to us was to help free us. So why would you speak down against anything that he said? So if you speak against anything that he said when all he brought was to free us, then you don't want your own people to be free. So I think I never really made that connection before until just now in my head. That's very powerful, and there's something to consider. Anyone speaking down on any person saying the truth about anything, whether it's the fact that milk is just straight pus. You know what I mean? Why would you condemn someone telling you that truth? Do you just want to drink? Do you want people to drink pus? Or talking about how McDonald's uses baby fetuses in their meat? Like, why would you want someone to eat that? And then why would you condemn someone spreading that information? Like, why are you fighting? What's wrong with you? So, just that.
Prophet warns all Muslims. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not for destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their carving button and cease wearing their turban and fez and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways.
We talked about how he's saying, don't flash your cards at Europeans, and those who violate the divine laws, justice must then take its course. To kind of make it more, I don't want to say mundane, but easier to comprehend. Like if we go around just being belligerent, just saying, look, we got Moorish IDs, then that kind of makes it so the people they see the Moors as this ignorant group of people, just cocky, blah 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 blah. So now when the youth come in, we've already tarnished our own name for them. You know what I'm saying? So we really need to understand that we are the example. We are the face of the Moors. You know what I'm saying? So if word around town is the Moors just are being belligerent and acting rowdy, then once the youth come up and they start wearing fezzes, then as soon as they see the fez, they're gonna think belligerent person, rowdy person, unruly, uncivilized, or whatever. So when we're wearing the turban, when we're wearing the fez, when we're just living with our brown skin, we have to recognize that we are a diplomat, a representative, a liaison for our nation, period. It doesn't matter what you do or what you don't do, because as soon as you see a Chinese person do something, you apply that to all Chinese people. Just like when you see these Asian Kung Fu movies, as soon as we see them, we like, oh, they know how to fight. You know what I'm saying? Which is part of the reason why our people get a bad reputation, because music videos, rap videos, movies that we're in were always portrayed as this bad person. So we literally have to realize that our image is affected by our actions. And that can be related to what you just said.
Caviar and Tour.
My favorite.
Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try, but their own bad planning brings down the wrath upon their heads like a sword of old Damocles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before, the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with the true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun.
Can we just talk about
Don't do it to
They're
him.
turning black.
No, listen. Can we just talk about the fact how everything that the prophet is saying is happening? You know what I mean? Like, we've seen it. We've seen what he's saying happen. It's one thing to read it and know it's coming, and then there's another thing to actually see it. Like, this is exactly what it is. I think it's amazing.
Hungry scavengers, flying high, catch scent, devour, and leave crying out. Caviar emptor, cast out the dead carcass.
Can we kind of talk about caviar?
The Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks wait.
We all know what caveat emptor means, right? May the buyer beware. Well, now you know. Caveat emptor means may the buyer beware. Meaning, if I'm trying to sell you this flip phone, right? If I'm trying to sell you this flip phone, and then you buy it, and then you start complaining, well, it wasn't even a flip phone. It's up to you to inspect what you're doing, what you're buying, what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So you can't blame me when I said, here, buy this flip phone, and I showed you what it is. Clearly, it's not a flip phone, but now you're mad because you bought it. But now you're blaming me, but you're the one who bought it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I say, hey, invest in silver, right? And then you take your entire savings out of your bank, and you get silver, but now you don't got no fiat to buy anything else, don't blame me. You're an idiot. Caveat emptor. The same thing applies for everything. The problem is, certain people will get mad because caveat emptor exists. Because they want to blame someone. Just like when we were in the black state of mind, we blamed the Europeans for everything. What Moors are doing now they want to blame other Moors. Even some blacks want to blame Moors for our situation, as if we're not putting ourselves in the situation. So I've been observing that a lot of people don't like the phrase caveat emptor because it forces them to not only have to think, but they have to be responsible for their own lives. They can't just blame someone else. They still try to, but they don't like caveat emptor because they don't like that they have to fight for their own freedom, because they don't have the spine as a man or as a woman to actually stand on their birthright and look their oppressor in the face and say, I'm not doing this. Or look at their dirty brother and say, you're dirty, I'm not associated with you. They want to, like the prophet said, bask in the sun and think that they're on the same road as the true Moors. You know what I'm saying? They want the praise, but they don't want to do any of the work. They don't want the phone calls at 4 a.m. saying, hey, you know, these Europeans just stole my children, what do? They don't want that. They want the look, we're over here, we're doing this. Oh, we don't deal with that because we want this in the realm of no responsibility. Just like, you know, the preachers and the reverends and a lot of these so-called grand chiefs, they want the title, but they don't actually want to do anything. I'm saying, like, when you came to me asking me questions, I had to sit there, intelligently answer your questions, show you this is where you go for the information, not just, well, caveat, or not even, well, we don't deal with that because the prophet didn't bring that, even though the prophet told us to be better citizens. In order to be better citizens, you have to know law, right? So how can these people want to teach you law? But then these same people will say, in the background, F the people, we're trying to move forward, F the people, when this whole movement is about the people. You know what I'm saying? Then they're going to be like, well, the people don't know this, so we'll do it for them. We'll teach them. But if we're doing it for them, we'll charge. Meaning they know if another person was in your situation, they wouldn't want that issue just resolved. They don't want to deal with it. Knowing that most of the people like that, they know they'll get rich. That's why they don't like caveat emptor. Because they don't want to think for themselves. They want to point the finger. And they want to rob our people, knowing that our people are in a desperate situation. So think about that, because it's real, and you'll see it. Anyway, anyone want to add into that? No? No one cutting heads off right now?
Empress.
No, I'm not even gonna go there.
You don't want to touch it?
Not even gonna go there.
Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all. Hey. And I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth, this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend on for their earthly salvation as American citizens. They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all of these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. This is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at the present. So I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Jerome.
I'd like to touch on that. I wasn't around when the prophet was around, obviously, right? But I can imagine, based on events that's been happening since we've been in this knowledge, that the prophet was the head, right? Prophet was putting everybody on, teaching them, doing all this work, and then as he was putting people on, people started to get jealous of him, and then try to say, well, don't listen to him. Be part of this, even though he's the one that put them on, right? So if we're like China, right? Let's say we're Chinese people, and we see Noble Drew Ali doing his work for his people, right? We see it, recognize it. Oh, this guy's doing great, right? Then we see him put other people on, right? And then we see those people split away from him. Who do you think, as Chinese people, we're going to go with?
Mm-hmm.
The prophet, the one that's obviously putting in the work, that has a track record of here's his literature, here's his newspapers, here's the records of him teaching people, here's all of this information, not the people that were studying with him for 2 months and now they got a fez on and now they think that they own the movement. You know what I'm saying? But it amazes me how some people don't see any of that. You know, they don't check the record, or they don't do any research on any of these people claiming to be anything, and they just listen. As long as it's something different from what the Europeans are saying, our people just jump on it as if it's true, and it's very, very, very sad because it's damaging to us. Anyone want to add anything? Study.
Show yourself approved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace.
Hey.
Peace. I've been here, y'all don't really see me. I brought new Moors with me.
That's always a beautiful thing.
Welcome.
I'm like, you said boy.
Oh, yeah.
See one person.
I brought more Moors with me,
I
sorry.
know, I only see
I
one
get it.
person.
Yeah.
Hey.
Excuse the intermission. The family just walked in. All the hugs. I'm just giving you.
All the hugs.
Yeah. No, come. Move out here so you get hugs. So you get more hugs. Because I heard word on the street is Moore's get the best hugs.
True that. Nice necklace.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I have my.
Oh yeah. Yes, well,
Yeah.
yeah. That's great. Good. Now you're free. We got a free man over here.
Yeah, like Taraj Bey, the past situation, man, and he,
Great.
All right, settle down. You're talking about people following behind others.
No, I know. I'm still here. So we were just talking about the prophet said we'll basically go nowhere without him being up front. Because if we think about it on a third party perspective, as if we're the Chinese people, and we see, you know, let's say you're the prophet, right?
Yeah.
And we see as Chinese people that your people are straight sleep. And we see you're the only one who knows who he is, putting in all this work, speaking with other nations, and then you put all these other Moors on, and then, you know, the Moors have been studying under you for like 3 months, they're saying, oh, don't follow him now, follow me. As the Chinese people, we're not going to listen to that idiot. We're going to listen to the person who's been putting in the work.
Correct.
So when Moors split off like that, it makes us look stupid.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? As a nation of people.
Divided.
Regardless of if you got the fez on or turban on or not, if you got brown skin and you're here in Morocco, you represent your people, period. You know what I'm saying? And then
That's a fact.
speaking of, you know, following the prophet, we have to use common sense. We have to. We have to. Just like the prophet said, if you can use your 5 senses, do so.
Remember that conversation we had about the guy I work with following all this trash?
Yeah. Wanna talk about that?
So a guy that I work with, he subscribes to a lot of quote unquote woke people.
You wanna throw out some names? Let's throw out some names. Young Pharaoh.
Yep.
Polite.
Mhm.
Who else?
Nature Boy.
Nature Boy.
Dang.
This is the people he was listening to. And what was his wife's name?
So he's trying to put his wife on, and he's like, load all this knowledge, da da da. And the seeds of truth, those are the best lies, the ones with seeds of truth in it, because it kind of gives you something to hold on to, but it's not really stable ground.
That's why it works.
So he's thinking he got the knowledge, and they're really not teaching him anything because that's what they do.
Mhm.
And his wife kept dismissing him
Mhm.
because she, using her good sense, she doesn't know what they're talking about, but logically thinking, she's like, that don't sound right.
Common sense.
Yeah, she's just using her common sense. So she's never following him. So he's having this woke conversation with me, and he showed me his playlist, and I was like, what the hell? This is why your wife thinks you're dumb. This is why she won't follow you. This is why she won't listen to you, because she's using her common sense, and like your wife's smarter than you.
Trying to teach her how to
Mhm. So I made him throw out his whole playlist and
You wanna
put him on to some better.
Who'd you put him on to?
Obviously us,
Well,
because everything's sourced. Cujo, the House of Reawakening Minds.
Mhm.
Those 3, I was like, those 3 will get you by to clarify
Stay with that
everything.
for a little bit,
Mhm.
and you'll be straight.
Straight
Yeah.
up.
Common sense, right? Let's talk about common sense now.
Mhm.
Let's bring this down to a regular. Let me take the sets off. Let's let our hair down on this one, right?
Let that lotus flower out.
I'll do it. I ain't scared. I got the bun up here. You already know I got the dumpling. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Prophet died 1928, 1929, right? He also said he has enough charters for every state, right?
Yes.
So let's be honest. If he's dead, can we get a charter with his signature on it?
Absolutely. How? Absolutely not.
Exactly. So knowing that, right? Knowing that, and in knowing that if you're at temple number 1, 2, 3, 4, he had 15. So if you're 1 through 15, you should have a charter, right? With his wet ink signature on it, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because he was around, because he had 15 temples before he died. So every charter from number 1 to 15 should have what? His wet ink signature on it.
That's a fact.
So if you go to a temple and they're claiming to be 1 through 15, and you look at the charter, right? You look at it, and it's his signature, but it ain't wet ink, and you can tell it was placed there. Do you think that's a valid temple?
No.
Why?
That's forgery.
Yes.
I have a question too. What about the location? Like these 15 charters should have a location. So if you go to an alleged location claiming to be one of the 15, automatically you should know it's a red flag.
Yeah, definitely. But that's even more common sense. You know what I'm saying? So those are red flags that we need to pay attention to. Because if I'm saying, if I'm saying, yeah, we finally got a charter, right? And it got the prophet signature on it, wouldn't you think that's suspect?
Yeah.
Because he's been dead for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I know this ain't for y'all, because y'all understand. But for anyone who might be new and they're listening, pay attention to stuff like that. Because you're gonna see it, and it's not gonna make sense. And trust yourself. Don't trust what no one's saying. We're following the prophet, and we're temple number 1 to 15, and we got the charter. And well, how come your embossers, they're clear, you can tell that they were embossed, and the date and the signature look like they're not fresh, or I mean, obviously not gonna be fresh, but you can tell that someone didn't write that.
Right.
That was
Please.
transferred from, they copy paste, because you can go on PowerPoint, get handwriting, make it red, so it looks like it's a red ink signature.
Yeah.
Don't let these people play you. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know
That
exactly what I'm talking
is.
about.
That's like another level of disrespect to the prophet.
Mhm.
If
It's
someone
fraud.
has that mental energy to even do that.
It's fraud. And that tells you what kind of person or whoever people are involved in that. Because ain't no way I'm believing no. That's all right. Think about this. I'm beating a dead horse. Think about this. All right. I create 5 documents in my lifetime that I sign, and I say, oh yeah, I can make more, right? But I only made 5,
Mhm.
and then I die, and then corporate succession. The Supreme Grand Council is supposed to be in charge now. They're making sure everything keeps going according to what the prophet said, right? So now the Supreme Grand Council is the only body that can actually sign things because they're alive, right? So let's say I establish that. So I'm telling you both stories, right? I established that to continue signing these things. If all of these documents still have my signature on it, and I'm dead, something's wrong. And if you deny your own common sense thinking, something's wrong with you too. So,
There's a common sense
Yeah.
battle in the.
Yeah.
yeah,
This is-
what are they battling?
Are you reading it?
No.
Oh, you're not. I'm talking to her. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Well, is Guaranteed Kudo got a sword out?
Yeah.
They told this guy to pay attention.
What?
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
I question if the temples are taking the word, and they seem to be going in heavy religious direction.
Yeah.
This puzzles me with all the Bible readers and everyone who is about their God.
Mhm.
Even in all their books say the same thing. In the beginning was the Word,
Mhm.
and the Word was with God. So, how much of them are taking the Word seriously?
The amount of them that know etymology. Now let's talk about that and also add this into the mix, right? So Prophet established the Supreme Grand Council, right?
Yeah.
To make sure everything with the Moorish Science Temple is good, right? So anyone claiming to be a Supreme Grand Sheik is obviously part of that, right?
Correct.
The Prophet said that this Supreme Grand Council is to say what is and what is not injurious to the Moorish Science Temple of America, right?
Correct.
So if there's any Moors who claim to be a Grand Sheik teaching anything that the Prophet didn't teach, they're supposed to come out publicly and say, don't listen to those people, right? So any so-called Supreme Grand Sheik saying, if those Moors are teaching whatever they want to teach, and those Moors are teaching whatever they want to teach, I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm doing this. Anyone that takes that position is telling you that I'm dirty because I'm not keeping things in order the way I'm supposed to be keeping it in order.
That's true.
So anyone not teaching the difference between connotative linguistics and denotative linguistics is playing you.
Yeah.
It's like anyone claiming to be part of the Supreme Grand Council that the Prophet set up, which these people say we honor the Prophet, but then they, like, let's say I'm not teaching what the Prophet taught, right? If there's any one Supreme Grand Sheik not saying Jamal needs to shut the hell up or saying Moors don't listen to that person, they're dirty. Which I'm not saying certain Moors they're not supposed to be teaching. Now, I never say that. But I know I read what the Prophet said. He said this body of people has this power, and I don't see anyone doing that. No way that most of the Moors should know Taj Street Bay and not know who any member of the Supreme Grand Council is. No possible way.
Yeah,
We all know who the president is, right? So-called Donald Trump of the United States.
Is that his name?
What?
Donald? I think no.
Oh, right. If we all know who the president of the United States is,
Mhm.
and the Moorish Science Temple is our,
Donald.
salvation,
Mhm.
how come we don't know who these 7 people are? And how come we know who Taj Street Bay is, but we don't know who these people are? You know what I'm saying? Something's not adding up.
And you still got people who don't know who Noble Drew is.
That's what I'm saying. So there's no way that the Prophet said, keep up with the times, right? Do videos just like the Europeans are doing. They do, Donald Trump signs one document, it's just 9,000 press in there taking pictures. How come the Supreme Grand Council isn't doing the same thing to give them more notoriety? You know what I'm saying? Because that makes it so, if you're a Grand Sheik of a temple, and the Supreme Grand Council is putting in work, and you want the Prophet's name to be out like that, you're sharing all their videos, everything that they say. Because that's law. So how come these people ain't active? Who are they? Where are they? When did they get commissioned? Who commissioned them? There better be wet ink signature on these documents. And if not, this is a call to the people that we need to either sign a petition to elect these people or figure something out together. Because when I first started learning this, I've seen the videos that Rami Salam El put out talking about the Supreme Grand Council. And I learned about this 2 years ago. And still, there's no Supreme Grand Council that I know of that's doing videos, issuing literature, issuing decrees, saying these people can't do this, that people can't do that, that people, like, actually doing their job. All I see is individuals saying, don't listen to Cujo, don't listen to Todd. Individuals who are just regular
It's always
grand chiefs.
Yeah.
They don't got no supreme, nothing.
And then you have these title wars
Mhm.
who think because they know a few pale-skinned individuals
Mhm.
that they're leaders, so they put titles to them because they're rubbing elbows. I'll tell you right now, I'm nobody, but I'm rubbing elbows with Lori Torhan, who just lost a vote up there in Mass, but no one cares.
Mhm.
No one cares. That's not, and I only know it through business.
Mhm.
So I'm saying, my whole thing is to check politicians out.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to figure out a way to
Well,
politely.
corrupt politicians.
Yeah, corrupt politicians. I mean, if you could call a politician not corrupt, you can say that. But me, I'm just, if you fit the description,
Mhm.
I'm not really, you see what I'm saying? So all these, I noticed these titled ones, they think because they're rubbing elbows with a pale skin who's in the office, who has their foot on your people's neck.
Mhm. They
that
think
makes-
that's cool.
They think that's cool, but
Mhm.
that just makes you look worse than, like, that. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. It scares me away from even heading in that way for direction.
Mhm.
Because you just show that all their knowledge is coming from the same pale skin who
Mhm.
colonized us.
Now, there's a difference between us electing someone and then not someone having to speak to them, to these Europeans, because they are on our land, to set things straight. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And there's a difference between someone just, well, I'm gonna take a picture of this person just so I'm around this person. You know what I'm saying? Which is what a lot of people are doing. Posting all these so-called awards that they're getting. How you get all these awards, right? But then when we travel to these different places where these different wars are, it's still crazy poverty, but you get all these awards.
Awards for everything,
Yeah.
and they ain't doing nothing.
That's what I'm saying. And I've
You
seen
can't understand.
even so-called Indian leaders get awards for communicating with the police. How are you an activist fighting against the system, against the very police that are killing us, but then you're getting awards from the corporate state
Mhm.
for increasing communication with the police?
You're aiding the
That doesn't-
perpetrator.
You're aiding, that's treason. How is that not treason? Explain to me how that's not treason.
So who
And
gonna
then slap
bring-
yourself.
So who gonna bring that to court?
Us, as a people.
Mhm.
But now,
So
but
is there a time frame, like, is it supposed to be, like, one of the grand chiefs that's supposed to bring these corporates?
it's what the people
Justice.
demand. Because remember, the Grand Sheik is a public servant. A public servant. So if the people say, I want you to do this, the Grand Sheik has to do it. The problem is a lot of the people aren't competent enough to know what to ask for. So right now, most Grand Sheik's job is to teach the people how to be better citizens. So now you know you're more, right? You recognize that these Europeans have been violating international human rights for years, right? Genocide is what they're committing on, it's not racism, right? So now as a body, we're supposed to say, how do we take them to district court? Because we have to exhaust all administrative remedy before we take them to world court. But then you have to think about the situation that we're actually in, how we don't have not one Morristown, we don't have one Moorish block. There's not one block with 3 active Moors on the same street. So we have to consider those types of things before we even consider, let's take these Europeans to international court. Because as soon as our people look at these Europeans, they're folding.
So basically, we crawling before we walk.
Yeah, crawling before we walk, yeah. But the problem is, there's not enough of us walking.
Much less
And we've been
running.
crawling for 100.
Yeah, much less running, exactly. Because
That
if
was
you,
the problem from day one.
yeah.
That's why we already on.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing that Marcus Garvey was going through, Noble Darley was going through. Nothing has changed yet. Like that would dramatically launch us forward.
Mm.
But what nature will do is put us in so much pain that will launch us forward. Because pain is a good teacher. We all been in a situation in our lives where we've been through so much hurt, but we came out of it a better person. You know what I'm saying? And based on what's been happening here alone, there's gonna be a lot more bad things. But that does not mean good things are gonna happen. It's just there's gonna be opposition from our very own people. Which I know y'all know.
The-
Hi, I say hello.
Oh,
This the guy online is just
Bug it.
yeah.
well, F that
Forget
guy.
it.
Yeah, don't
If y'all,
feed
if
the
you can
trolls.
make this more of like a town hall meeting, like, people sharing their concerns, where do you see us going as a people? How, like, from being so-called black to being known that you're more now, what the change was, what have you seen? You know what I'm saying, if we can open up, because I don't wanna keep talking, I'd rather have the people talk.
Well, why are we not going back to like the basics? Like, we was having a conversation overhead, and we feel basically like they're not utilizing the land. We're not utilizing our land. We're not farming.
Yep.
We're not doing distributions. What happened to all of the stuff our ancestors was doing that put them on top of the food chain? Why are we not emulating what they did?
We don't live close enough to do things like that and protect it because we do have the right to do that and we can, but also we have to protect it.
Yep.
So like he said, if there were 3 active Moors on one block,
It's
the
3 houses,
policy enforcers would be fearful to go on that block.
they'd be less inclined.
They would be more inclined to mind their business.
Mhm.
So if you want to farm in your backyard or do whatever, or if there's an abandoned house between your house and another Moor's house, they would be less inclined to come talk to you about it if they know that there's 3 other Moors surrounding that property.
Mhm.
So
But so that means like
We need to-
well, right now we're starting at a point where we're so low.
Yeah.
You know, we're so low where we're that individual on the island.
Yep.
So right now it's a room of us, and like you said, we have no time. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's HQ?
Exactly. Exactly. Now, there was an HQ when the Prophet was around. It was 134 Indiana Ave in Chicago. When the Prophet died, the Dirty Moors let the Europeans live in there as apartment complexes now. So we have to, once we do have another headquarters, we have to actually protect it. Meaning there has to be faithful Moors willing to lay down their lives for this building. And I'm not saying it's going to result in that. I'm just saying you have to have that mindset. Because once you
Build and defend.
Yes, once you conquer fear in your mind, then it doesn't matter. The problem is our people are so just filled with fear. When we went to Chicago, when we was talking to the people up there, when they were just explaining how the living conditions for the people up there it was just all fear. What are you fearing? Because if you really were connected to your ancestors, you wouldn't fear crap. What's there to fear?
It's holding them back from
Yo,
coming together.
ever since I became a Moor, let me tell you something. And I had got fed up. I had got fed up before I knew I was Moorish, right? And I was just on my own road, rebellious. You know how we get, like, man, they tell you that you don't like authority. You don't like authority figures. Because in me, I can see and feel and know that something's not right. Because then, look, every time I got locked up, you know what used to catch me? I'm next to someone with a more heinous crime, alleged crime, charge, whatever. He out the door because his skin is more fair. What my perspective of that was at the time. So I'm like, oh, it's because you white, you gonna get out. You know what I'm saying? Homeboy done do his girlfriend on the stairs, beat the police up out trying to arrest him, all types of. I mean, drive without a license, man. I said, player, you win the award for most violent inmate here right now. You 3 guns, all that. Out the next day, gone. I'm in there, and pedophiles get more good time than the actual so-called criminals. They push pedophiles out the door back onto the street with the so-called registering your neighborhood stuff. You gotta check it out.
But that's promotion of the Inquisition, to keep the status of the people in this messed up situation. Because, all right, this person just not driving with a license, that's nothing. But a pedophile roaming the streets, that pushes the fears to know they have more control over the people.
This is what they're doing, like regularly, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
I'm saying it got to the point where I had to get into law. I was so fed up. Like, I'm gonna look into this. I'm gonna stop being what they call ignorant. And I started to look, but I'm looking into it on the European aspect, reading their laws and everything, not knowing that all of their laws were translated to English, translated from another language. You gotta know you gotta know not one law in this world came from the Europeans. So I'm saying all of it was translated so they can understand and speak it.
Can I add on to that?
Go ahead.
When you study etymology, you'll see something called PIE, which means Proto-Indo-European.
Yes.
Indo-European.
Yes.
Proto means before.
Mhm.
So before the Indo-European languages, meaning the family of European languages, German, Dutch, Italian, French, before all of that was a commonality.
Yes.
And it was African dialects like Arabic, Sanskrit.
Mhm.
So a lot of idiots will say, well, how are you teaching this stuff speaking the European man's language? Okay, dummy. It's something called Proto-Indo-European.
Right.
It's not their language.
Right.
So that was a great point.
And people don't get it. Like the reason why it has to be done off the base of European is because through transliteration and everything, they put themselves in the forefront of the world. We're all watching them. They're Hollywood. You see, if we was watching the Bantu tribe, we wouldn't be worried about English. Probably wouldn't be talking to you in English to teachers. We'd be speaking either Kenyan or Bantu. See what I'm saying? But they put themselves in the forefront, so that's why we have to explain it their way and take you back to Indo-European proto before that. So me getting into it, the one thing that caught, and this man back there was telling me my whole life, because I used to be Christian. Me and this man used to walk the streets of the Bronx up and down, and he used to tell me how I'm not a Christian, and I used to argue with him back and forth and tell him how I am, only to come to find out that he was right the whole time, defending something I wasn't. While I'm defending it, we walking up and down the streets, watching the streets around us going up in flames.
There's churches everywhere.
People throwing acid on each other. There's liquor stores on every corner, churches everywhere, and the place is in flames. You stepping over crackheads and all that. This White Plains Road. So after getting into it, my first incident was with a state trooper. And I'm not gonna call it an incident. My first enlightenment was with a state trooper. Coming back from the Bronx. Regular old trip to see the family. I'm back. I'm meeting my two brothers in the whip. Lala, he's up there just working. And we in the whip driving up. And I guess a car is behind me, mad close, tailgate. Like, you know when the lights go up in your mirror, you can't see because the car's so close to you? That car swerves from behind me and gone. This trooper jumps out and pulls me over. I'm like, well, goddamn. I'm like, hold on. When he gets to the window, I'm gonna just let him know he went that way. Hey, what are you doing? So he pulls me over. Mind you, I got no license, okay? Because I'm reading now, and I had already read that the Supreme Court deemed it that when you're traveling, you don't need a license. So I'm thinking it like that hard. I don't know nothing about no more stuff. I'm thinking it like that. Just roll. I'm tired of this. I'm ready for it. Like, stop playing with me. Plus, they already took me to one of their barracks before and beat on me after calling me the N-word and all that. I'm like, but damn, it's like 2010. What's wrong with you? I'm doing some mad old tactics right now. Take it easy. Like, you take me outside, we shoot the ones, and then you can lock me up for something for real. Drive without license, and they're in here beating me. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. I called a Jewish lawyer back in, and I got the cash to pay for this at the time. Like, I'm wilding out. Jewish lawyer tells me it is within my best interest to not take up a case against the state troopers in Massachusetts because they can do whatever they want.
Inquisition operations.
That's what I was told by, and I called the company. And they put, hold on 1 second, sir, and transferred me to the lawyer. And this way he telling me, I'm like, God damn. I'm in Google now, like, who else do you call? So it's like,
Go to Ask Jeeves.
who you gotta go to? I asked Jeeves, no help me, Howard, no none of that. I ain't with that. I know that's all the trick.
And can I add on to that?
Yeah.
You know who we go to?
Who?
Each other. The problem is we have a problem with laying down our lives for each other.
Yeah.
We can kill each other.
Yeah.
But we have a problem with dying for each other. And I don't want to promote this whole we have to die every second.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
It don't matter. You
get
should,
rid of that
because
fear stuff of death.
if you check it right now,
Yeah.
And if we help each other, it's to a certain extent.
Yeah.
We don't think we should go all the way out.
Yeah.
You know?
If you're not willing to die helping me pick these strawberries, I don't want you to help me pick them.
straight like that, Lord.
That's what I'm saying.
Straight like
I'd rather
that.
pick these
You
alone.
watch some of us that'll throw their lives away for their oppressor. Unless they don't even know.
I was one of them. I was in the Marines ready to die for Rome. didn't even know I was dying for Rome. Because in my mind, I was dying for y'all. Because after I seen Twin Towers, my aunt works. Her husband at the time worked there. So I'm like, my family worked there. I'm gonna go ahead and defend my people, not knowing I was an agent of Rome's army. You know what I'm saying?
That's
All
how
we
they
gotta
have a
do
lot of
is
us.
take that mindset and apply it to our people, literally our people. So if I'm in a room full of Europeans, I'm not dying in that room. If I'm in a room full of Asiatics and someone's trying to come in that
crazy.
door,
Their oppression led me, like, set the glitch in my mind that something's wrong.
yeah.
Because say if they would have not oppressed me and kept me comfortable, I'd have been full-blown European minded on my way up.
But that's the thing. They make it so our people are comfortable with, oh, I just made it this paycheck. So now you kind of just repeat that. You're comfortable in the struggle.
Repetition, that's what their school is designed to teach us. Just repetition. Know how to show up there every day, 181 days out of the year.
They're using principles that we can be using to our benefit. But I want to go back to what this brother said earlier about not being enough of us.
Hold on, let me real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The state trooper. So
Oh yeah, my bad.
So he pulls me over. We all get like he pulls us out the car, search my brothers, everyone got a knife on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right to bear arms.
Streets, yeah. So we had a knife, taking a knife. Oh, what's this? Making a big deal of it. This, that, and the third. Places me in the back of his car. No cuffs. No cuffs. Just places me in the back of the car. This, that, and the third. And he's getting my brothers right out of here. Tow truck's coming for the whip. So he's like, yo, you seem like a smart guy, because I'm telling him, like, I know my rights and all this. I told him all what the Supreme Court ruled, and I don't have to have a license to travel. He's like, you seem like a smart guy. Why don't you have a license? I said, because I'm practicing my sovereignty and I don't need one. And he pulls the car over. And lets me out. Lets my brothers out, gives back the knives, calls the tow truck, and we all get dropped to Wendy's, and the tow truck pulls in, drops off the Honda, and let's go. I swear to you.
Caviar Emptor.
Wow.
And that was the last thing I said to him. He asked me, while driving off, you seem like a smart guy. Why don't you have your license? I don't need it. I'm practicing my sovereignty. He said, oh, that's sovereignty shit. That's bullshit. I was like, I know you're going to call it bullshit because you don't want me to know about it. And he pulled over. He let me out. Gave us back everything. Took the car. I was sick too. I was like, damn, why me tell the way? He gave us back the whip. Everything.
More trouble at home than with cops.
came home. Didn't we tell y'all? So we pulled up. I said, no, police just let us out. State trooper, mind you. Ain't ready police. And these are the ones that the Jewish lawyer told me on the phone they can do whatever they want. How would you look at that? So after that, I started going ham. Let me look up sovereignty. I started Googling, looking. My little brother showed me a video one day with Sabir Beg, traveling more now, and Taj. And from that, I found the Godhead. And I am now. And ever since that, it's like I don't want to brag and toot my own horn, but I feel like a god. Because even in my little town where police was parked next to my crib, it's a neighborhood watch sign. They used to park there every morning, every day, until they ran into me. And I took him to court. And now he's not there no more.
They don't want no smoke.
They want no smoke.
They really don't.
Because you got to think about this. It's 12 at night. You driving. There's 44 stop signs in front of you. No one on the street. If you run one, they're on your ass. But in a crime, there has to be a victim. Who did you kill running these stop signs 12 at night? No one's on the street. Pitch black. 44 stop signs till you get home. They want you to be in that fear and that drone mind, like, oh my God.
Let me stop at every single one.
Nothing's out there. Nothing's in your way. Someone will look at you like you're crazy. You stop in the car every minute for what? That's that mentality we got to break free from. Not to say we're being ignorant and dumb and just running stop signs, but we know it's 1 a.m. No one's out. You know what I'm saying? You're not drunk blowing stop signs, but you know you're not going to kill no one. You roll through a stop sign slowly, you going about your business.
Common sense.
So,
let's talk about the whole, you've seen the movie Spartans with so-called Greeks and Persians. They had 300 of them, and they funneled the 1,000,000 of them into the hot gates. Well, they said in this small space, their numbers would be nothing, right? And they were messing them up until some dirty Greek went to the back and was like, there's a goat passage, and right?
Leaper.
So this is. I don't think he was there. Was anyone in there?
Right.
When Poet, the whole situation with Poet went to City Hall in Pawtucket.
That was-
But when he comes back, ask him. There was a Moor who the police kicked down his door looking for something, like just starting something. Everyone in the house was like, nothing's going on. No one called the cops, blah, blah, blah. The Pawtucket police, municipal police, kicked down his door anyway because he wouldn't invite them in. They were like, let me in. He was like, nah, this is my house. No one called you. What are you doing here? Right?
Taking the police.
Nothing happened at all. But they were like, all right, we don't believe you. We're Europeans. We're kicking in your door. So they kicked in his door, went in, nothing happened. Then they ended up taking him to court. They got dismissed in court because nothing happened. So then he was like, I want the city of Pawtucket to pay for my door. Since their municipal police damaged it, they're responsible. So he was dealing with the municipal agents of Pawtucket, and it cost him $500 to fix this door, or 500 notes. So he was trying to get reimbursement. They wouldn't do it until he told about 5 of us. So we all showed up, fezzed up. I literally sat down at the table with the city council, sat down, and was like, oh, you're here for the so-and-so matter? Yeah. Oh, let's deal with that first. They had a stack of papers of what they had to deal with. But just because we were there in that small room where their police meant nothing, right?
Yep.
He was reimbursed that 500 notes.
It's,
So it's small things like that that are huge victories that we don't see because we think that there needs to be 1,000 of us.
Yeah.
Or we think that we have to actually fist fight, go gun to gun, tank to tank with these
Stand
people,
on the word.
meaning we're going to lose. It takes, if I'm in a small, all right, on social media, you can talk all the crap you want to me, right? But if we're at a table like this, so what you saying? That's different, right? So these Europeans, policy enforcement, I can do whatever I want. And then, hey, city councilman, the police, we got this Moors block, right? 3 houses. The police been locking up Moors left and right. What's going on? Now you got to say something to me. And it's not going to be just me. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then all the Moors that we know in that same room. And they don't want smoke. You seen how they was reacting in court when you just got the information I told you to present to them. You seen how they was acting. You seen how they act.
Yeah.
You seen how they act. Y'all seen how they act.
Did you know that you can have the judge read the definitions off to the words involved in the case?
You know what they say? You know what they say?
No.
Oh, I'm not allowed to give you legal advice.
Well,
They say it.
either I'm more forceful with my voice, but I had the judge read off the definitions. She said it's within my right.
From Black's Law?
Yeah.
Well, this is now we're getting into the fact that there's different types of people, there's different magistrates in different areas,
Yeah.
and we're
I think that's what
still
it is.
dealing with
That's what it
human
is.
beings.
That's what it is.
Because there's certain people who they see more, they're like, I don't got time for this, dismissed. And then there's other people, they're like, oh, I got time today. And they want to bring us to the ringer. But if there's just this many people at one city hall meeting, it's a wrap. Because a lot of these people are dumb in the city hall. There's a lot of competent
And
people.
the trick
but
is this.
a lot of them are stupid.
They tell you peace and praying and all that. All that translates to is you standing on the word.
Mhm.
You know what the word means and what it
That's
is.
being
You go
competent.
there. You're not going there to raise beef or spill blood. You're standing on the word.
So can I paint a scenario? Let's say we were all to go to City Hall in a week and talk to the city whoever. What are some of the things that we would talk about?
What are they setting up on and in our land that is beneficial to us?
I would say protocols on how to deal with us.
How so?
If we are declaring that we're more
Yep.
and showing, well, we don't have to show them anything, but if we feel like presenting paperwork,
Mhm.
IDs, whatever, then they need to address us the way they're supposed to and abide by the treaty.
Correct.
So
What else?
I think that would be the most
Effective? Well, that
significant
covers-
thing to start is abide by the treaty and address us as nationals.
That covers a lot of stuff.
Once you see the identification, there's a card or an identification of that person.
Yeah, so
That's proof, solid
Yeah.
evidence that that's a more.
Yeah, so this is what I was thinking, along with what both of you said. We go to City Hall, we say, these are IDs of our people.
Right.
Take a picture of this if you need to, scan it, do whatever. Let the chief of police know that if any one of his minions see one of these, to let us go. Because now if let's say we say that to them, right? And they take me. Now all you know, speak to that city councilman. And guess what they don't want? That.
They don't want you to know directly.
You have to be careful with that.
Because now, hold on, now, right? Now that councilman's taking all this heat.
Mhm.
And now their media is getting involved. Now our media is getting involved. You think he's gonna be elected back into that chair? Highly doubt it. Because there's no such thing as bad press. So once that blows up, now all these niggers, right? Now they get to see, hold up, the Moors actually doing something. Then guess who's not a nigger no more? And guess who's losing power? Them.
I'm always the Naga. You can't take that away.
Yeah, Naga and niggers two different things.
But in the same token, it doesn't remedy the problem we're dealing with. We still don't have industry, we don't have farms, we don't.
Yes.
That's how
But
we-
setting up
No,
that line of
Setting up
communication
that.
would help alleviate
Help
if they do
facilitate that.
come and try to stop what you're doing,
Mhm.
abide by the treaty.
Mhm.
Because we already had a conversation about it.
Yeah, but we don't even have grand councils that can even step up to the plate.
Do you see where you're at?
To strengthen what's fact, what's truth.
We got 11 right
Hold
here. How
on.
many did
Do
you
you
take?
see what's happening in this room right now? This is the beginning of that. Now it's on every single one of us to continue with having these meetings, teaching our people. Because if we don't start and show nature that we're consistent and we actually want this, we're not going to get out of this.
Mhm.
Consistency is the key to everything. Because if you're a painter, right, and you ain't really consistent with your paint company, I'm not hiring you. So if these Europeans been running government for a long time and they've seen so many people say, well, I'm this and I'm that, and then a week later, they're gone, these Europeans ain't paying attention to us. So if they see these more saying, well, we're Aboriginal indigenous because we're trying to seek some benefit, and we don't actually put out and stay honorable and stay consistent, then these Europeans don't have to listen to us.
Yeah,
And that's nature. That's nothing to do with these Europeans. That's their laws. That's nature. You know what I'm saying? So if we don't continue to keep doing what we're doing, to spread the information, to come together and just speak about our problems, what will we say? What will we do? Then when it comes to those points, when we actually get into the meeting with these city councilmen, and if I'm not there, and some of the people that we call competent, if they're not there, and now we're in this meeting with these councilmen, and we're like, oh, well, because we kind of want, nah, we're not going nowhere. The problem is we have these meetings. People will explain, well, how come we don't have this? How come we don't have that? And then leave and then never show up and contribute anything. That's why we don't have anything. Wondering why Moors don't got a police? Look how many people in this room. Wondering why Moors don't have farms? Look at all these people in this room. Wondering why Moors don't have businesses? Look at all these people in this room. How are you going to have a business? You're going to have a business. You're going to have a business. And you're the only one working it. You got to hire people, right? So where are people at? We're the reason why we don't have any of these things. Because we don't come together. And what we do is for 5 seconds where we complain and we don't come back because all we want to do is complain and not take responsibility. So if we don't recognize that and if we don't point that out, we're dead. And that's basically what Marcus Garvey was saying. All these other nations do it. If the Chinese people can do it, how come you can't do it? If the Europeans can do it with their Masonic lodges, how come you can't do it? If the Prince Hall so-called black Masons can do it, how come Moors ain't doing it?
And they have a lot of land. Like as you drive, we live by Smith, so as you
Yeah.
drive up and down Smith Street, I'm like, that used to be, it's gone now. That
Yep.
used to be, the building's still there, they're for
Mhm.
rent, but no one's doing anything with them. There's
Mhm.
3, literally back to Smith Street.
Mhm.
There used to be a Aaron's, there's a Chinese restaurant, and the other building on the other side of the wall is a, they were doing like, you come in this morning, we send you out on work in our little van type of jobs and stuff like that. All 3 of them empty and vacant right now.
Mhm.
And at the corner of it is the Portuguese club
Now,
that stays open. That's theirs.
for who?
Bar underneath.
For the Portuguese people.
people. They have their little church there. They have all kind of stuff going on there. It's never
That's
just
nationality.
churches.
Now,
It's
can I
whatever
add on
they
to what
wanna
you're
do,
saying?
But they have these 3 places. Then
Mhm.
across the street, near the pizza Hut, there's another place because there was a meat market. The neighborhood is not good, but if you start there
Mhm.
and you build there
Mhm.
and you push the drug users out,
Mhm.
then yeah, you buy
Now,
the block and
listen to
keep it
this.
moving.
I've seen articles where the councilman in Chicago, municipal city councilman, government, was saying we're selling these properties for $1.
$1, right?
Now, let's say all of us see, because the people in the city hall in Providence, they're punks, all of them. Now imagine there was 50 more, 100 more, go up to the city council. They're gonna feel the energy. They're gonna say something is up. All these 50 people, 100 people are demanding something. Chances are, if I don't give them what they're demanding, there's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean we have to be violent. It's just we're gonna be at your door every day now, and now you gotta deal with us. So imagine 100 of us say, yo, that's been abandoned for, because we do our research on these estates, that's been abandoned for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 5 years, 7 years, and it's abandoned, that's a plot of land. We'll give you $1 for it.
Mhm.
And we don't have to give them anything. But let's just say in that situation, we say, we'll give you $1 for it. And now we got land that we can farm on. An abandoned building that we can turn into community center. Another abandoned building where we can bring the vegetables, and a few trucks that we can set up so we can ship it to other Moors who ain't got it. Because people in New York, they ain't got no land like that. They need vegetables, don't they? Don't they need vegetables, right? We all got family in the projects in New York.
Yes, it is.
That's what I'm saying. Just like that. Just like that.
And it's so funny, like the stupid memes online that keep saying black people claim they don't have anything. Then how come all the Puerto Rican, white, and Asian people are buying all the stores in your neighborhood? You guys are the only ones purchasing their items.
Giving
You're
them
the
the
only
money.
one purchasing their items.
Kills me.
They don't have no Chinese people coming into no Chinese restaurant.
I never seen
Notice
them.
that?
Not even in the nail places.
That part, they don't get their
I'm
nails,
glad
like
you
you don't
pointed
see
that
any
out.
of that, but we're so brainwashed that we need this stuff.
Or people that don't want to touch no feeds, none of that.
That's crazy. We don't. There's a statistics about the notes, the dollar. The Jewish community keeps the dollar 90 days, up to 90 days, rotating within their culture.
That's right.
The Europeans keep it 30 to 60 days. The so-called black race rotates the dollar for 17 days.
17, I thought it was hours.
Seven-
Like, as soon as I get it, I'm
Yeah.
going, like,
It might be down to hours.
You're talking about the 1st and the 15th. That's what you're talking about.
Black Friday coming. That's
Right.
it. And then we're like cattle.
Mhm.
Until we realize, and that not gonna start until people really cleanse the body and the mind. And that's how I feel. Because people just, we can't. It ain't gonna work if you constantly poisoning the so-called everyone right now thinks their third eye is open on one side is pineal gland. Everyone's it's crazy. It's crazy. Everybody and their grandmothers woke wide awake sleeping.
In their
Yeah, what's going on?
They're drinking Dayquil.
Right.
Like, I have regular
They
conversations
dreaming.
and they're like, "Oh, you're so woke, you're constantly don't call me. Call me. I prefer being called fed up.
Yeah.
Like fed up. That to me, that's your average woke person.
Fed up.
Who wouldn't be tired of this constant ill treatment? Second class.
Yeah, but a lot of it is us doing it to ourselves. Let's be honest.
That's the depressing
Yeah.
part.
So we talked about a lot of problems. We talked about some hypothetical situations. Let's talk about remedy. One thing that we've done was we created this Rise of the Moors platform. We have viewers that tune in frequently. They visit our website, they buy our products, they buy our books, they buy our shirts, they buy literature. Right? If you make oil and you want some fiat, we have the platform that people are already going to for you to sell your product there. If you have something else, jewelry, we have the platform for people to buy more jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Because although it's an online store, it's creating it so that we need something physical now. Now we need a space to store all these items. So now we're going to get a warehouse. But it doesn't grow unless the people are part of it. Because her and I can only do so much. You know what I'm saying? But people have to be willing to be part of something that they may not be administrating, but they're part of it. You know what I'm saying? We have to recognize that if you have your paint company, I'm like, dang, I really wish I had my own paint company. Why would I not just get with you? Because I know you're not going to screw me like these Europeans. So instead of trying to fight you for the boss spot, I'll just be like, hey man, What's
A
up?
lot of people don't.
To
That's
be
what I'm
honest
saying.
with you,
It's the
even if you
mindset.
screwed me, I would
Yeah,
rather
exactly.
get screwed by you than a European.
I say the same thing.
Yeah.
I say the same thing.
It's an
I
old
think it's the
Jewish
mindset.
saying that they will rather work with a bad Jew until they can work with a good Jew.
Mm-hmm.
Then work with
And work with anyone else. Our people look at another Asiatic that they think is black. Well, I don't know how black you are, so I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We've been
Yeah.
scattered. Our mindset scattered across the planet. We look to join other cultures. We look to
Mhm.
join every other
I
movement
think
but
it's
our
a
own.
mental healing that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Period.
Through love and
You
trust.
have to, it's not that. I think if you keep telling me that I'm a boss, I'm a king, then why in the world am I gonna be a follower and behind you? I want my own business. I don't wanna be behind you.
Yeah, but now
But
now look
that's
at
the
this.
mindset, so they have to understand that you are a boss
Mhm.
in your own mind, in your own right,
own
but
life,
in order to work, we need to all be
Mhm.
workers.
Yeah.
And stop telling people that they shouldn't be a worker. You have to be a worker.
Mhm.
You can't be a boss and not be a worker. You're a boss
Everybody
is a
gonna be a
worker.
boss.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's
But-
like too many chiefs in the,
Not enough babies.
right, yeah.
But you're right. Our people, we are told we're the kings, we're the blah blah blah. Even though your city's crap, but you're the king, right? Your people are in poverty, but you're the king, right?
Yeah.
That's probably why you're in that situation because you're the king and your people are
Well,
suffering.
They're living that other mentality of the king because he lives good
Yes.
while everybody else lives
But that's
horribly.
fraud.
why.
So we need to teach our people that the glory of the king is the welfare of the people, not your
Yeah,
fake reality.
exactly.
So we need to have a better mindset on what a king is.
Yeah.
Because the king has to listen to who? Their people. So if you can't listen, you probably can't run a business. Because her and I have been in business for a year. That may not be a long time, but that's an entire year of running something with another human that thinks differently than you. And since I'm an Aries, I think I'm a leader, right? I like to lead. Now I gotta rein back because someone else owns half of this. So instead of trying to step on her toes, well, I'm the boss of this, I'm the face, I'm always on camera. I'm saying, no, you are a huge value to this. What are you bringing? Because she sees things I don't see. You know what I'm saying? So in order for this Rise of the Moors to be bigger, more people have to add their input. Because if we don't, then it's just going to be us two doing what we can, and we're not going to go any further.
Yeah.
Because in order to grow, more people's minds have to be involved, meaning more human beings have to be involved. But if you don't see a value in what we have because it's small and we're not rich yet, and we're still got to, get something from the European because we're not balling yet, then that's what you see, and that's where we're going to stay. But if you have the mind to see where it can go, how fast it's growing within this year, if you don't know how to analyze data, then you're not going to see your own potential. And if you can't and even if you don't see any of that, if you're not willing to just work with your people, I may not get a huge benefit now, but later I will. If you can't think like that,
Mhm.
I don't know what to tell you.
Your business will fail if you can't think like that because it takes a lot of reinvestment.
Mhm.
You don't get to have it right away.
Yeah, you put money in, you see that money coming back to you, and you're like, I can't do nothing with that money
Mhm.
because that's to go into this now. But now you got two things that are putting that energy out. Like I got 2 books now. Now I got 2 books circulating, making fiat. So once a certain amount of fiat comes back, I get a third. I'm printing my 3rd book.
Mhm.
Now I got 3 books out there
I
making their
highly-
own amount of fiat. You know
I
what I'm
highly
saying?
recommend every more try to make their own family business because then you start to really understand currency and it's a current.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Ebb and
keep
flow,
putting,
literally.
you keep putting it out there so it can come back to you. So you keep reinvesting so you get more back.
Mhm.
That's the way it works.
Mhm.
But people want to just have it and hold it. So they sell something, make some money,
So now you're
and then they
stopping.
just want to
Now
spend
you're
it
stopping the current of the currency.
Yep. because you want to stand in the middle of the river.
So again, you don't have to believe it. You can track our progress on YouTube. See where we started. See where we are now. Track it. And
Consistency.
if your own mind doesn't show you that success, then great, don't be part of our group. Because I started off in my mother's basement. Now you're here, 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 and you're here. If you don't think that's progress, something's wrong with you.
And you know what?
And I'm not insulting you, I'm just trying to show you that us being together is progress.
We have this good looking room too.
I sent
Yeah.
packages today.
It ain't ours,
to-
but
No, but
Yeah.
Nice.
I sent packages today to England and New Zealand.
Ooh.
yeah, we sent books
So
to
son,
So if you don't see the progress, then
yeah,
like you said.
we've sent people from Hawaii's been contacting me.
National, internet.
People from all over the country talk to us. That's progress. They're not making us rich, but now I know so many people have been offering so many things to me. Like, hey man, if you're ever in this area, let me know.
Mhm.
All right, so now I got security. Now I know if I'm going out there, I got a place to possibly stay for a few
Yeah.
days, just because we've been helping people. That's progress. So now, when Rise of the Moors get their own warehouse, hey, remember blah blah blah? You looking for a job? But guess what? We got a warehouse now. We're looking for workers.
Mhm.
Now we can put our own people on. The opportunity is success. Yeah, I might want to get down Rise of the Moors. Sell something on the site. Do something.
Off camera, we'll talk about
Yeah.
it.
I just told somebody to email you about business.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great.
And a lot of people think that it's again with the everybody wants to be the king.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that if they come to us, it's always going to stay under us. We're just offering a place for a platform so that you can start out your own business and not have to go through the beginning troubles that we had.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was hectic.
It was
Tariq said he's coming.
So we're
Great.
we're just trying to make that
Big ups to
transition.
Tariq.
We're trying to help people survive,
yeah.
but they see it as, you know,
We're gonna monopolize over their
Yeah.
business. Like that's not. I don't want that. That means more work for me. I don't think you understand that. If I can help you put your business on, now we got two individual powerhouses.
Mhm.
and
Now, hold on. Now, what the Europeans do, right? Now we're at this meeting now, right? Hold on, I don't want to be. What you want to invest in? How much money you want to put up towards this building?
Mhm.
Oh, you putting up half? We'll put in half.
yeah,
If that's not a powerhouse,
Buy back the block.
it's only in our interest for everybody
for everyone to be
around us,
on.
yeah, to be successful. And you're a perfect example of that. When we first talked about the contract,
Mhm.
what I tell you, cut the number in half, cut the
Mhm.
percent that you wanted to give us in
Mhm.
half, and even then, still
That's
go
so good.
evaluate
It
your
needs time,
costs.
a joint.
Yeah.
We can close today. See, we closing business deals out here.
Do you want to end the video?
Where do I
here?
sign? Where do I sign?
Yeah, we can end so we can kind of build more informally, even though this is very informal, off camera, so we can speak more freely. Thank y'all for tuning in. Study, study, study. If you ask me what to study next, I'll say move out here. Move out here and help us literally form the first Moorish town since the Prophet was around. The first Moorish town, so we can not only dominate the industry out here, but just show you this is who we are.
Yeah.
What's better than that? This is who we are. Financial freedom.
Ohana.
Peace. And